Welcome to the stream, everyone. Game week 35, 5 hours away. So this is my team. 1 free transfer, 1.7 in the bank. I will most probably save a transfer this game week. No transfer plans for me this game week. I have the captaincy on Cole Palmer still. I'm not really sure if he will stay on Cole Palmer, but I will make a decision during this stream. On the bench, I have Pascal Gross, Van Hecke, Hill, all of them solid options, but can't really see who I should bench in my starting 11 to make room for one of those players. So Dubravka on the bench, I will start for Bruggen, Strike, Kukurea, O'Reilly, all of them solid options this game week. So I will most probably just play this team. Playbell, thanks for joining in. How are you? Just posted my team. Nice. So if you're interested in having your team reviewed, head over to X, post a picture of your team selection, and we'll get it up on the screen. Ayub, hi. Thanks for joining in. So let's start by taking a look at Playbell's team. So the post you need to find on X is the Game Week 35 deadline stream post. It's this one. So the plan is to sell Malagusto to Gabriel and roll the other transfers. So 2 free transfers for Playbell. Has the available funds to sell Malagusto, the Chelsea defender, to bring in Gabriel. Sounds like a decent plan. And let's have a look at the team. So this is it. Darlow in goal, a double up on Leeds defense with Darlow and Justin. O'Reilly is in, Malagusto as mentioned, and we have Bruno Fernandes, Cole Palmer, Semenyo, Tavernier, Erling Haaland captain, Pedro, Calvert-Lewin. So this team is kind of similar to my team. Hill, Van Hecke on the bench as well for Bruggen. I think if I had Carl Darlow, I would probably play him this game week and bench for Bruggen myself. So selling Gusto, bringing in Arsenal defense. I think this looks really good on paper, and this team is probably good to go this game week after the Gusto to Gabriel. I could do something similar with my own team, bring in an Arsenal defender and sell Kukurea, but I think I actually will just play my Chelsea defender this game week. I'm not really expecting a clean sheet against Nottingham Forest, though. They scored 5 goals against Nottingham Forest. I'm sorry, against... So 5 goals for Nottingham Forest, of course, against Sunderland last game week. Big free hit game week. So there were a lot of managers doubling up on the Sunderland defense. Didn't really go that well against Nottingham Forest, conceding 5 goals. What's up? 5F20, what's up? Thanks for joining in. So this is Playbell's team. I think this team looks really good. It's similar to my team as well. So this is most probably a game week 2 wildcard team, right? Free hit last game week. The team looks good for game week 35 as well. So Playbell's plan, sell Malagusto to bring in Gabriel. I think this sounds like a really good plan, to be honest. Chelsea defense has been so frustrating I really do agree, especially in double game week 35. All of the Chelsea assets, they were really, really frustrating. I had Cole Palmer myself. I had Joao Pedro. So Joao Pedro, actually, he has played in every game week so far this season, but none of the fixtures in double game week 33. So, of course, a bit unlucky for game week 32 wildcarders who went for Joao Pedro. Bruno Fernandes, Watkins, Jared Bowen, or Gabriel, who's the best captain for game week 35. So Bruno Fernandes is probably the safest out of those options. He will have the highest effective ownership. So if you're satisfied with your rank, you should go for Bruno Fernandes. Watkins, it's another solid option this game week. I'm not sure if I would go for a defender, to be honest. Of course, Gabriel, he has attacking threat. He can pick up defensive contribution points, but for me, this game week, it will probably be Bruno Fernandes or potentially Watkins as a punt. No clean sheets in 12 games for Chelsea. They have actually been quite terrible, but hopefully Cole Palmer will come good. He played in the FA Cup, played like 30 minutes. So at the moment, I actually have the captaincy on Cole Palmer. Let's put my team back. No Erling Haaland. So let's put up a quick captain poll as well. So I had the weekly Q&A yesterday as well, and we actually discussed Calvert-Lewin as an option playing at home against Burnley. Picture can't be much better. I think Calvert-Lewin will start his own penalties for Leeds, so I think potentially Calvert-Lewin could be a punt for the captaincy as well. At the moment, Cole Palmer is my captain. I think I will go against Erling Haaland this game week, to be honest. Playing away against Everton, of course, it's Man City. It's Erling Haaland. He can score against anyone, but I think I might go a bit different this game week. So there's only 4 game weeks left. So if you're chasing, if you want to climb the ranks, you need to be a bit different. So taking a punt on Cole Palmer at home against Nottingham Forest. Could be a good move. So someone else, please. So if you're voting for someone else, please let me know in the chats who will be your captain for game week 35. So Erling Haaland has a couple of votes already. he will most probably be the most captain player in game week 35 as well. And I think Bruno Fernandes will be backed as well. So both Erling Haaland and Bruno Fernandes will have high effective ownership in game week 35. So normally this fixture playing against Liverpool would be considered as a tough fixture for Liverpool, but at the moment I think playing at home against Liverpool is actually a good fixture for Man United. They might be without Alisson Becker as well. Woodman, the third goalkeeper, actually did pretty well in blank game week 34, but I would not back the Liverpool defense in game week 35. So there are a lot of teams with Van Dijk in. We saw this yesterday as well. A lot of teams with both Van Dijk and double up on Man United with Bruno Fernandes and Mbumo or Cunha. So if I had Van Dijk at this point, I would actually consider selling him to bring in defender from Arsenal, Man City, or potentially take a punt on Crystal Palace for their double. So one of the reasons why I will most probably just save my transfer is the fact that I would like to have a couple of transfers heading into double game week 36. So I will have 2 free transfers next game week, and I will consider bringing in Palace players. So just posting my team. Let's have a look. There we go. So this team has Darlow in goal, double up with Bijol. I'm not really sure if he'll start his yellow flagged. We didn't really get anything concrete on the injury situation for Leeds players, but seeing you have decent cover on the bench as well with Senesi and Van Hecke, so you'll probably be fine. I like this team, Tavernier, playing at home against Crystal Palace. It could be a really good fixture for Bournemouth. We know Crystal Palace, they might actually rotate a bit going forward, considering the fact that they will still be playing in the Europa Conference League. So Cole Palmer, vice captain, Bruno Fernandes, Aronson from Leeds as well, Semenyo, Joe Pedro up front with the captain Erling Haaland on the bench. Welbeck is in. We have Senesi and Van Hecke as bench cover. So this team looks really good on paper. I think Danny Welbeck could be played, but I can't really see anyone in your starting 11 that should be benched to make room for Welbeck at this point. So Welbeck first on the bench. Is this a game week 32 wildcard team as well? So this team looks really good on paper. Similar team to my own team and Playable's team as well. The only worry is, of course, if Arsenal keep a clean sheet and if Gabriel gets an attacking return, this will really hurt our rank. So the safest option is probably to try to find a way to bring in at least an Arsenal defender. It doesn't really have to be Gabriel. Could bring in someone like Saliba, but Gabriel the best option, and I think he will continue doing well in the next game week. So Arsenal, they are still competing in the Champions League, but considering the fact that they will fight for the title race will be really close. Man City, they have closed the gap, so I think that Arsenal definitely will go full strength, and Gabriel will play most minutes in the run-in. So do you have any transfer plans? I think this team is all right. Looks good for game week 35. As mentioned, similar to my team, and my plan is to save a transfer this game week. There is a risk, of course, going without Arsenal defense. They are the highest owned defense, and an Arsenal clean sheet will hurt the rank a bit, but hopefully the other defenders can deliver as well. The safest captain option is probably Erling Haaland this game week, as mentioned. So Erling Haaland, he is the bookie's favorite for any time goal scorer. 42% chance of a Haaland goal against Everton. Calvert-Lewin is in there as well. He's actually second. So the bookies, they really believe in Calvert-Lewin ahead of game week 35. So Erling Haaland on top. Calvert-Lewin is second. And we have Igor Thiago in third for the home fixture against West Ham United. So Erling Haaland, Calvert-Lewin, Thiago, all solid options. Arsenal, they are the favorites to keep a clean sheet. Leeds, they are actually second. And we have Man City for their fixture against Everton. The most transferred in player this game week is actually Ryan Shirky. Gibbs White is second. Erling Haaland. It's been a while since we saw Erling Haaland on this list. Top transfers in ahead of a game week, but I actually think this makes sense considering the fact that they will play twice next game week. So 2 Man City players in the top list for most transfers in. We have Timber, Joe Pedro, Harry Wilson. All of them are sold by a lot of FPL managers ahead of this game week. So Gibbs Whitey has been really good playing away against Chelsea. We have discussed the Chelsea defense. They haven't been that great recently, so this could potentially be a good fixture for Nottingham Forest. But with that said, my captain is actually Cole Palmer at the moment. So hopefully Chelsea can turn it around, and hopefully Cole Palmer can deliver this game week. So it will be a really interesting game tonight as well. I will be watching Leeds against Burnley. Hopefully it will be an interesting fixture, and I will have a double up in this game with Pascal Struijk and Calvert-Lewin. Actually, considering to give the captain's armband to Calvert-Lewin, it's kind of tempting. Friday night football playing at home against Burnley. I think he will start. $4 hours, 54 minutes until the deadline. So this stream is a bit earlier than the regular deadline stream. So I will not be on for 4 hours, but I will host this stream for the next 40 minutes or so. So if you're interested, head over to X, post a picture of your team selection, and we'll get it up on the screen. So if you have any other questions, just let me know in the chat. And thanks to all new subscribers, 26 new subscribers since the last stream. Good numbers for a small account. So if you already haven't done so, please consider subscribing to the channel. So close to a price rise. Players that most probably will rise in price this evening: Morgan Gibbs-White, Calvert-Lewin, Munoz, Raya. It's a bit surprising to see Munoz price go up. I was expecting this to happen ahead of double game week 36, but a bit surprising seeing that Munoz price will go up this evening. When it comes to players that will drop in price, we have the injured Hugo Ekitike, Soboslai, so a double Liverpool there with Harry Wilson as well. So Harry Wilson, he is actually one of the most sold players ahead of game week 35. Hey mate, channel is growing really well. Keep up the great work. Thanks, the English Aussie. Thanks for joining in. So the subscriber count at least have gone up a fair bit recently. 3,476, which is good. The goal is to get close to 5K during the summer and preseason ahead of the 26-27 season. Can you review my team? Definitely. If you're interested, head over to X, post a picture of your team selection, or just post your team in the chat. Let's have a quick discussion. So my team is fairly set for game week 35. My plan is to just save a transfer and have 2 free transfers ahead of double game week 36. So double game week 36 is confirmed. Man City and Crystal Palace, they will play twice. Hello TFS, early deadline stream. Nice. It's going a bit earlier this game week as well. Deadline is 4 hours and 47 minutes away. So still time to make transfers, still time to make decisions ahead of game week 35. My captain is actually Cole Palmer at the moment. Not sure if I will go with Cole Palmer or potentially change to Calvert-Lewin. So the English Aussie, my team is Verbruggen in goal, Senesi, Hill, Bijol and Strike, so a double up on Leeds. Semenyo in midfield, Bruno Fernandes, Joe Pedro, Hallen and Danny Welbeck up front. On the bench, Sanchez, Cole Palmer, Ampadu and Gomez. Cole Palmer on the bench. And my captain is Cole Palmer. This can potentially hurt for one of us. Rank 12k, if that helps. 12k, really good rank at this point. I assume that the goal is to try to get inside the top 10k, so I think this team looks really good on paper. The English Aussie, it's probably a game week 32 wildcard team, right? Double up on Leeds. We have a couple of Bournemouth players in there as well with Hill, Senesi. So 2 double ups in defense. I think I would probably play Cole Palmer ahead of Hill, to be honest. But if you have a feeling that Cole Palmer will fail in game week 35, if you think he will be on the bench, of course, it could be a good move. Don't necessarily think this team needs a transfer if you're happy to go without Arsenal assets. So, of course, I have said this a couple of times. There is a risk involved going without Arsenal defense. They are the highest owned defense. So, if Arsenal keep a clean sheet, it could potentially hurt the rank a bit, of course. They kept a clean sheet in game week 35. I played my free hit. I'm sorry, in blank game week 34. I played my free hit chip in blank game week 34, and I had Raya in, who got 10 points. Yaha Ahmad, thanks for joining in. 2 free transfers, 1.2 in the bank. Rank top 13k, so really close to the English Aussie. Nice rank, and hopefully you can break into the top 10k during the last 4 game weeks. So it's Darlow in goal, O'Reilly, Hill, Senesi and Gabriel, Bruno Fernandes, Pascal Gross, Semenyo, Tavernier, and up front Erling Haaland and Calvert-Lewin. Verbruggen is on the bench, Cole Palmer, Joe Pedro and Van Hecke. Any changes? So another team with Cole Palmer on the bench. So have I missed any news about Cole Palmer not starting this game week? My captain at the moment is actually Cole Palmer. In the captain poll, Erling Haaland, he is the favorite. 86% of the votes have gone to Erling Haaland, 14% for someone else. So if you're going for a different captain, if you're not going for Bruno Fernandes, Erling Haaland or Cole Palmer, please let me know in the chat. I was thinking Morgan Gibbs White, SA, Chris Wood. I like SA for a punt. I actually talked about him ahead of blank game week 34 on a free hit, but will SA start every game week from now until the end of the season? I can't see SA being benched in a couple of fixtures as well. So a really good player. Is he a good player for FPL in a run-in? I'm not really sure, to be honest. But Morgan Gibbs-White, really solid option. I can potentially see some rotation for Chris Wood as well. He has been injured for a while. Recently came back from injury. Football and stuff, the Brighton expert. Thanks for joining in. Shirley Hill over Tavernier is the play. Thoughts on Mbeumo to Casemiro as a differential? Will free up some funds as well, so why not? I actually saw a stat that Casemiro, he is actually in the top 10 for midfielders and FPL points. So at the start of the season, I didn't really think Casemiro would do that well, but he has contributed with attacking returns as well. He is a big threat on set pieces, so Casemiro, I think that he actually is a decent FPL option at the moment. Nailed on to start for Man United. We know he can get defensive contributions as well, so Mbeumo to Casemiro. It's a bit sideways, of course, but if you have a plan for those freed up funds, it could be a really good move. The goal was to win until game week 32. Now it's just to have a bit of fun. So really good rank for the English Aussie. I feel like for game weeks to go, less expected minutes and more high ceiling punty options work. What do you think? That's why SA feels nice. So definitely we need to be a bit different at the end of the season. Only 4 game weeks left, and this is the reason why most probably will go for a differential captain this game week. So the safest option would be to captain Erling Haaland and bring in an Arsenal defender, but at the moment my plan is to go a bit different with the captaincy and save my transfer ahead of double game week 36. Palace concede 2.5 points on average to left wingers. That's quite bad, and I'm happy to back in double Bournemouth defense clean sheet because I really think they will keep a clean sheet. Bournemouth against Crystal Palace. So football and stuff. Talking about starting Hill, play 4 at the back and bench Tavernier. I think that Tavernier is a nice differential as well for game week 35. I haven't really checked his ownership. Give me a minute. Let's have a quick look. Only selected by 5%. I think Tavernier is on penalties, especially when Krupa Jr. is not on the pitch as well. So hopefully they can get a penalty. Hopefully Krupa Jr. is not on the pitch and Tavernier is the one who takes it. So he's on some set pieces as well. Playing against Crystal Palace, I think this potentially can be a good fixture for Bournemouth. We might see some rotation in the Crystal Palace team. Played midweek and will have another game next Thursday as well. So hopefully Bournemouth can do well. Of course, Bournemouth, they can keep a clean sheet against them, but at the moment I'm taking a punt on Tavernier, playing the attacking player and benching Hill. Will it be okay to do Mbeumo to Casemiro and roll 1 free transfer going into game week 36? My team is 148 in your league. So let's have a look at the league as well. So it wasn't this league, right? I have another league as well. I created a couple of leagues because the first league I created, I forgot to tick the box that says close for new entries, something like that. So 148 in this league. So is it Sesko's Snipers 148 triple captain played in blank game week 34? Bruno Fernandes triple captain played a bit unlucky, of course. Bruno Fernandes, he did get a return, but only 5 points last game week, so the triple captaincy made it 15. 35 points, red arrow, game week rank of 6.5. Could have been worse, of course, if Bruno actually blanked last game week. Could have been a horrible game week. So Gabriel is in with 8 points. Semenyo, no fixtures for him. Same goes for O'Reilly, Krupe Jr., Calvert-Lewin, Dubravka. So managed to field 11 players play the triple captaincy. A bit unlucky, of course, with Solanke and Xavi Simons. I actually had both of them on my free hits last game week. I had the injured Mo Salah as well. Things could have been a bit better. This is my blank game week 34 free hit team. 67 points and green arrow for me. Bend it like Beckham. No, not that one. Bend it like Beckham. Maybe it's easier if you just give me your team ID and we'll get your team up on the screen. Bend it like Beckham. Of course there were, I'm sorry, 2 teams on equal points, 1882. So it's actually two teams in 148th place. So 60 points. Bend it like Beckham in game week 34. Played the free hit, 60 points. And a green arrow. Lamin single. Liverpool defense with Van Dijk, Mavropanos in the starting 11. Gabriel 8 points. Gibbs White, nice. I had him as well. Xavi Simons, Solanke. You avoided a couple of players like Mo Salah. So Bruno Fernandes captain, Harry Wilson, Jared Bowen up front with Watkins. So Watkins, he could easily have had a couple of returns in blank game week 34, but a blank for Watkins. So this was a nice result. 60 points, green arrow, and happy days for Bendit like Beckham. Van de Ven on the bench as well, 6 points, and an injured Cunha. catch you later, mate. Need to set up my own stream. Good luck for the rest of the season. So best of luck for the rest of the season and your upcoming stream. And thanks a lot for joining in. Best of luck for game week 35 and have a nice weekend. So it's 4 hours and 32 minutes until deadline. So this is a stream a bit earlier than the regular deadline streams, but thanks all for joining in. I always have a Q&A the night before every deadline, and I usually have deadline streams like this, sometimes a bit earlier, sometimes a bit later, and sometimes I do actually have a deadline stream in the actual deadline a couple of hours before. But as mentioned, 4 hours, 32 minutes left. No need to panic. You still have time to set up your team, make your last decisions. Orange Apple, thanks for joining. Hey bro, how are you? All good? I'm actually really excited for the game this evening. I will have a double up on Leeds against Burnley this evening. So I'm actually really looking forward to this game. My job interview was successful. Got the news today. Congratulations. Well done. What did you think of Mbeumo to Casemiro? I think going for Casemiro is actually a good idea. Only 4 game weeks left. He has lower ownership. He has attacking threat. He can pick up defensive contributions. And it will give you a bit more funds in the bank as well. So, of course, it's a bit sideways replacing a Man United midfielder with another Man United midfielder. But if your team is in good shape, I think it could be a good transfer. My plan at the moment is to just save a transfer. Let's have a look at my team. There we go. My plan at the moment, as mentioned, is to just save a transfer and have 2 free transfers heading into double game week 36. So we know we have the confirmation about a double game week. Crystal Palace and Man City will play twice in double game week 36. Harun Hyatt, best wildcard team for this game week. I have actually made a wildcard video. So if you're interested, it's linked in the description down below. Can I have a look at my wildcard team, please? I'm triple captaining in game week 36, bench boosting in game week 37, FPL Luca. So if you're interested in having your team reviewed, head over to X, post a picture as Luca have done, and let's have a look at your team. So this is Orange Apple's team ready for game week 35. So in goal, Sanchez, we have O'Reilly, Senesi, and Pascal Struijk in defense. So a double up on Leeds for Orange Apple as well. So hopefully Leeds will do well this evening against Burnley. So Pascal Struijk, Calvert-Lewin, the fixture can't be much better. So O'Reilly, Senesi, solid options. I'm actually benching my Bournemouth defender this game week. So will be really interesting to see how that turns out. Tavernier is in this team as well. I like him for game week 35 with only 5% ownership. Semenyo, Cole Palmer, vice captain, Bruno Fernandes, and up front together with Calvert-Lewin, we have Erling Haaland and Danny Welbeck. So Hill on the bench, Mitoma on the bench as well. So I think this team looks really good. Of course, I have said this a couple of times, but there is a risk involved in going against the Arsenal defense, the highest owned defense in the league. So if you want to play safe, the safest option is probably to bring in an Arsenal defender. But I think this team looks really good on paper, and you can definitely save a transfer heading into game week 35. So a double up on City is already in place, and you have the possibility to bring in a Crystal Palace player if you're interested ahead of the double game week. Honest John, Captain Calvert-Lewin. I'm actually considering to Captain Calvert-Lewin, to be honest. But it would be a massive disappointment, of course. First game, Friday night, if he blanks against Burnley. At the moment, my captain is actually Cole Palmer. I can see Orange Apple's vice captain is Cole Palmer, but the captaincy is on what could be said to be the safest option, Erling Haaland. I think I will roll for game week 36. Would you move the bench around at all? No, I think I would keep the bench as it is, to be honest. I would start Sanchez as well if I had him, considering the fact that you don't have any Nottingham Forest attackers. I think I would start Senesi as well and have Hill on the bench. I have Hill on the bench myself, and I think Bijol, I think he will either start or not play at all. So yeah, I think this team looks good to go. Obviously, Mitoma, the captain, Orange Apple. What on earth are you doing here? So we have the pleasure of a guest in the chat. FPL the English Aussie. Thought you head off to set up your own stream. Found the time to stay a bit longer. That's nice. Small channels supporting each other, definitely. Respect from Orange Apple. Nice. So you're not interested in Crystal Palace players, I assume, ahead of double game week 36. Left you on in the background. Thanks a lot. Heard Orange Apple. Had to check back. TFS, would you move the bench around at all? Or no, I think I would keep the bench as it is, to be honest. Orange Apple is everything. I think I would keep the bench as it is. I think Bijol, he will either start or not play at all. And I would have Hill ahead of Mitoma, even though English Aussie had a suggestion of actually captaining Mitoma. I'm the N'Golo Kante of FPL channels, keeping small channels alive. That's nice. Thanks a lot, Orange Apple. Orange Apple is everywhere, of course. So when it comes to deadline streams, it's actually quite hard for small channels because there are a lot of activity ahead of the deadline. But when we get even closer to the deadline, like 2 hours until the actual deadline, there are a lot of FPL streams and the competition is really, really hard. So this is one of the reasons why I have started to go a bit earlier. So usually, of course, the activity is higher, so overall, I would get more views by delaying the stream, but it is what it is. Would you get an Arsenal defender or just roll for game week 36? I think if you're satisfied with your rank and the position in your mini league, I would probably consider bringing in an Arsenal defender, but if you want to keep pushing and try to climb the ranks, I think we need to be a bit different. And this is the main reason why I'm considering to go against Erling Haaland captaincy this game week. So, of course, the safest option would be to bring in an Arsenal defender. No easy way for you to bring in an Arsenal defender. You would probably have to do this in 2 moves. So something like Mitoma to a fodder and Senesi to Gabriel. You don't have a lot of funds in the bank, of course. Early streams works well for me because it's 11 p.m. in Australia and deadlines are killing me. Yeah, time zones, of course, has an impact as well. Who do Arsenal play? Arsenal play at home against Fulham, so this can potentially be a good fixture for Arsenal. And of course, they can keep a clean sheet at home against Fulham. So the safest option would probably be to bring in an Arsenal defender. But at the same time, I'm actually not considering bringing in Gabriel this game week. I'll probably just go for Kukurea and save the transfer. I posted my wildcard team, by the way. Sorry about that. Let's refresh this and have a look at your wildcard team as well. There we go. So FPL Luca wildcard active. So I had a question in the chat about a game week 35 wildcard team as well. I have made a wildcard video, so if anyone's interested, check it out. So this team has a double up on Crystal Palace with Munoz and Convoy. Of course, the reason for the double up on Crystal Palace is the fact that they will play twice next game week. So Gabriel is in, O'Reilly, really good options, a triple up on Man City. I would go for this exact triple up on Man City myself if I were to play my wildcard this game week. So O'Reilly, Ryan Shirky, Erling Haaland up front. Haaland is the captain as well. So Watkins, a really good option. I think the picture this game week is good for Aston Villa playing at home against Spurs, and they have a really good fixture next game week as well. So Calvert-Lewin, of course, the fixture can't be much better this game week playing at home against Burnley, and we have Saka in as well. So I really like the inclusion of Saka. I have actually started looking at a game week, double game week 36 wildcard draft, and I think that Saka could be a nice differential in the run-in. We have discussed this a couple of minutes ago as well. If you want to climb the ranks at this stage with only 4 game weeks left, you need to be a bit different. And Saka, he hasn't really delivered so far this season, but considering the fact that Erling Haaland is actually the only really expensive player that we should have in our team, so we can definitely afford a player like Saka. Mitoma out is blasphemous. Do you like Saka more than SA? As a differential in the run-in, of course, I think SA probably is better value, but I think Saka could be a really nice differential in the run-in. So the thing with Saka back is the fact that I think he will play more minutes compared to SA. So if we did not consider the price, I would actually prefer having Saka in my team. But with that said, I think that SA is probably better value. I originally had Gyökeres, but I think I prefer Watkins. Now, yeah, Aston Villa, they still have a lot to fight for, so they will most probably start Watkins in the remaining fixtures. So when did Aston Villa actually get their last penalty? How we got the confirmation that Watkins actually is on penalties for Aston Villa. You reckon Saka takes penalties over Gyökeres? My worry with Saka is the fact that Gyökeres most probably will continue taking penalties. He took one in the Champions League as well and scored. So it has been like this with Arsenal the last couple of seasons with Martin Ødegaard and Saka. It looks like they are like sharing the penalties. I think Arteta said in an interview last season that the one with the best confidence in that actual game will be the first choice penalty taker. I reckon Gyökeres will take. Yeah, I think I agree with Luca when it comes to Arsenal and penalties, especially seeing that Gyökeres have scored his last couple of penalties taken. So I'm 400k rank, by the way, worst rank since game week 12. So 4 game weeks left, still time to push and better the rank. Actually, this season have been a special season for me when it comes to rank. I started terribly. I was 9.5 million after game week 1. So a terrible start this season. But at the moment, I'm actually 100k. So a lot of green arrows for me, but mostly because I had a terrible start. Well, I captain Bijol in the double game week, so if you want to have fun, nice. Nice. Will you captain Bijol in game week 35 as well? That's the question. I'm actually considering to captain Calvert-Lewin. Unironically, your captain mugged mine. I had a measly 2-pointer from Cole Palmer. Ooh, that's tough luck. Captain Cole Palmer. I saw he was actually one of the most popular captain options in double game week 33. So I think Chelsea, the players who invested in Chelsea for the double game week definitely got a bit unlucky, especially seeing that Joe Pedro have only missed 2 games so far this season, and it was both games in the double game week. Bijol ahead of Calvert-Lewin. I actually don't have Bijol in my team. I only have Pascal Struijk and Calvert-Lewin. But I think this wildcard team looks really good. Well set up with a triple up on Man City. A couple of Crystal Palace players in as well for the double game week next game week. You can potentially just bench Convo in most of the games. No players playing against each other, so it's actually a triple up. I missed the goalkeeper Henderson, so a triple up on both Crystal Palace and Man City, taking full advantage of the double. Wilson, a tough game for Fulham and Harry Wilson this game week, but they have some good fixtures left, and they are actually still fighting for Europe next season. So I think that Fulham, they have everything to play for. So Harry Wilson, we could see a good run in from him. His ownership is around 20%, 22%. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like Harry Wilson at least had like 30% ownership, but I think it's low 20s when we take a look at the ownership of Harry Wilson. Yeah, I said earlier, I can't believe you're up to 1K, 100K. Great fight back. Thanks. I'm actually kind of satisfied with how this season have gone. Will not be a new record season when we take a look at rank, but climbing from 9.5 million to 100K is actually a decent achievement. Should I sell Bruno and Dewsbury Hall for SA and Rogers, then bench a Palace defender, or keep? What do you think? Well, to be honest, I don't think I would play double Crystal Palace defense this game week. To be honest, I think Dewsbury Hall is a decent player to have on the bench in the run-in. As mentioned, I actually made some graphics for a double game week 36 wildcard video, and I actually have Dewsbury Hall in a couple of teams and a couple of drafts. So I think that he is a solid option. Would I play double Crystal Palace defense this game week? I'm not really sure, but the players on your bench don't have the best fixtures. So Bruno Fernandes, considering the fact that you have your worst rank since game week 12, was it? That kind of tells me you're not really satisfied with how this season have gone so far. So it could actually be a good idea to try to be a bit different, and going without Bruno Fernandes can potentially be a good move. So Bruno and Dewsbury Hall, SA and Rogers. Actually, I don't really hate those moves, even though Rogers isn't really a differential, but compared to Bruno Fernandes, he has quite lower. I think Rogers as well, I think he has the same ownership as Harry Wilson, so something like 22%. So Aston Villa, I think having double up on Aston Villa actually could be a good idea. They will play at home against Spurs this game week, a good fixture, and they will actually play against Burnley in double game week 36. So doubling up on Aston Villa. I know that especially Rodgers, he has been really frustrating. I have actually owned Rodgers myself on a couple of occasions so far this season, and it has been really frustrating. I started the season with Rodgers as well, and as mentioned earlier, I didn't actually really have the best start. So Morgan Gibbs-White in form from the English Aussie could be another option. Thing is that Nottingham Forest, they have some really tough games in the run-in as well. So definitely Morgan Gibbs-White is someone to consider. I had Gibbs-White on my free hit last game week, and it really paid off. It was, of course, a bit surprising to see Nottingham Forest beat Sunderland 5-0, but I think Nottingham Forest, they have won the last 3 of their last 4 games. Do you have any other shops? I think that Everton NGI from game week 36 could be a really good option as well. So if you can afford the upgrade from Dewsbury Hall to Iliman NGI, his on penalties for Everton really low ownership. It's like 4% ownership for NGI. So I definitely think that he could be a really interesting option in the run-in as well. So he hasn't really delivered attacking returns recently, but he definitely passes the eye test. Looks really, really good. He's kind of similar to Ryan Shirky, the way he plays, and he has really good confidence at the moment. So not the best fixture for Everton in in game week 35, but from double game week 36 in the last 3 game weeks, I think that NGI could be a really interesting option, to be honest. But you probably needs a player that can play this game week to bench Convo, possibly. Yeah, I owned him for a while before my wildcard. Been pretty disappointing, but it's looked good. Yeah, I know that he hasn't really delivered, but he has gone really, really close. Especially his expected goal in some of the fixtures have been really, really good, but I know he hasn't really delivered FPL points in all of those games, but passes the eye test, and at some point, I think he will deliver FPL points as well. But as mentioned, I think Rogers is a really good option. You have Harry Wilson on the bench ready from double game week 36 as well. I think this team looks really good. You can potentially pick another defender and bench Convo. I'm not really convinced of double Crystal Palace this game week against Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth most probably will score. Can actually consider something like Anderson to Hill. Start Hill at home against Crystal Palace and bench Convo this game week. But on the other hand, Fulham, they have some good fixtures, as mentioned in the run-in. Tough game this game week, but good fixtures from double game week 36 and onwards. So I like this team. A couple of safe options. My preferred triple up on Man City. Watkins, Calvert-Lewin up front together with Erling Haaland. Saka in as a differential as well. Safe option in Gabriel. I like this team a lot. Yeah, only reason I have Anderson is because he has Wolves in game week 37 for the bench boost. Yeah, makes sense. We saw this in... I was really close to bring in Anderson on my free hit last game week. I think it was... How many points did he get? I think he got double digits last game week. So a nice solid wildcard team from FPL Luca. This is my team at the moment. Okay, this time I really have to go from the English Aussie. Best of luck, mate. Thanks a lot for joining in. Best of luck for game week 35 and have a lovely weekend. If I find the time, I will try to jump in on your live stream as well. 11 points first on my bench. Nice. 11 points from Anderson. So he is actually a solid player, but I think that in the FPL community he's probably a bit overhyped. So let's have a look at defenders. Defenders. Transfers. This is just on the transfer page on FPL. Top scoring defenders: Gabriel, Guehi, Van Dijk, O'Reilly, Timber, Tarkovsky, Senesi, Lacroix, Nunez, Refer, Van Hecke, Shalba, Michele, Munoz, Mitchell, Konati, Richardson. Anderson is on 122 points. So considering the fact that he's only pressed at 4.5 is probably not overrated, but in the FPL community, it's been talked about a lot. So this is it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 high scoring defender. So I started this by saying that Anderson probably was a bit overrated. I think I will take this back. 18th highest scoring defender, only pressed at 4.5, is probably a good achievement for the Fulham centre back Anderson. So before the season started, he was talked about a lot after the inclusion of defensive contributions. So I think I might sell Bruno Fernandes and just send the SA and Rodgers due. Gives me enough to upgrade from Canva to Lacroix to, yeah, definitely. If you can upgrade to Lacroix, I think that he is a bit safer as well. So that makes sense. Yeah, he has been overrated to refund. So especially in some of those easy fixtures for Fulham, he hasn't really delivered. But as mentioned, 11 points was impressive in blank game week 34. So in the captain poll, Erling Haaland, he is the favorite. 59% of the votes, 23 for Bruno Fernandes, 18% for someone else. So if you're going to captain someone else, please let me know who will be our captain in the chat. Erling Haaland is the favorite. He usually is when we take a look at the bookies predictions for anytime goal scorer. So Erling Haaland, he is on top. The next player in this list is actually Calvert-Lewin. So Erling Haaland, 42% chance of a goal. Calvert-Lewin, 40% chance of a goal. And Igor Thiago just behind him with 39%. So the safest option is definitely Erling Haaland. When we take a look at clean sheets, Arsenal, they are favorites. And Leeds, Man City are close. So 48 on Arsenal, 48% chance of a Leeds clean sheet, and 43% chance of a clean sheet to Man City. So these are not my predictions. These are taken straight from the bookies. I'm on a wildcard without any Leeds player. A risky decision. It's not exactly risky because the Leeds players, they don't really have that high ownership. But of course, I think that Leeds, they have a couple of good value assets at the moment, and they have a really good fixture in game week 35 as well. So I think if I were to use my wildcard this game week, I would probably include at least one Leeds player. They have some really good value defenders, and I think actually Calvert-Lewin is a good shot this game week as well. So on a wildcard, I think I would go for a Leeds player, but risky, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a risk going without Leeds, but I think they have some good FPL assets at the moment. So this is my team at the moment. I will have a double up on Leeds against Burnley, and hopefully this will pay off. So I have Pascal Struijk in defense and Calvert-Lewin up front. Rodgers too risky due to Euro. I think Rodgers is a really good option in the run-in. I think that he is one of those players that will play most minutes in both Europe and the Premier League as well. So I think that Rodgers is one of the first names on the team sheet for Emery. So I will be surprised if Rodgers sees limited minutes in the run-in, to be honest. I think that he has the desire to play. He will try to fight for a spot in the England squad for the World Cup as well. So I think Rodgers will continue playing. . So trying it on for size, the captaincy is currently on Calvert-Lewin. I think I have made a decision to go against Erling Haaland this game week. I will most probably just save a transfer and go for a differential captain. This will give me 2 free transfers ahead of double game week 36. But Cole Palmer, Calvert-Lewin. We actually have had a couple of teams with Cole Palmer on the bench. I'm going to get some sleep, man. Good luck this week. Have a nice rest and hopefully game week 35 will be a good one. So best of luck for game week 35 and have a lovely weekend. Wait, would you start Munoz or Lacroix? I think we'll go Munoz. Mostly because of the attacking threat. I see you have benched Hill and playing Tavernier. I have the same dilemma. Hill, Senesi, Cole Palmer, Tavernier, who to bench. I'm also benching Van Hecke and Pascal Gross reluctantly. Yeah, I kind of agree. Pascal Gross did really, really well in double game week 33, so I think I will go for the attacker when it comes to Tavernier against Hill. I might actually have some points on the bench this game week. The bench is actually quite decent with Pascal Gross, Van Hecke, and Hill, but Tavernier only selected by 5%. I think I will go for the attacking option. My captaincy is currently on Calvert-Lewin, so why is captaincy on Cole Palmer? I wouldn't really consider benching Cole Palmer this game week, to be honest. He has been injured. He missed the last game in double game week 33, but he played in the FA Cup. So hopefully he will start and hopefully he will do well in game week 35, playing at home against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, they are one of the most informed teams, and this is one of the reasons why I'm a bit reluctant to captain Cole Palmer, but I have decided to go against Erling Haaland. So it's only 4 game weeks remaining, and if you want to climb the ranks, you need to be a bit different and have a bit of luck as well. Neil Chisman, the thing with Senesi and Hill, play one and the other one get points. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And it might be the same with Tavernier and Hill this game week. So Tavernier might, of course, blank. And if they keep a clean sheet, I will bench the clean sheet points from Hill. Calvert-Lewin is a brave choice. I think Calvert-Lewin will start on penalties for Leeds. They have looked lively recently and the picture can't be much better. So, of course, there is a risk involved by going against Erling Haaland. Calvert-Lewin, a big punt, but hopefully he will do well this game week. Sander, who would you start between Tavernier, Scott, and Senesi if Palace? Is Palace a good game for defensive contributions? I think out of those, so currently in my own team, I'm starting Tavernier, benching Hill. So I think I would start Tavernier. It's the reason why is I really like his ownership. He's on some set pieces for Bournemouth, and if Krupi Jr. is not on the pitch, he's probably first in line for penalties as well. So before, was it back in game week 28, 29 before his injury, he was actually taking penalties. I think he scored a penalty in game week. I can't really remember which game week it was, but around 28, 29, Tavernier, he scored a penalty for Bournemouth. Any thoughts on Joao Pedro as captain? Forest played last night, as did Palace, of course. I haven't really considered Joao Pedro after being traumatized in double game week 33, but of course Joao Pedro is a solid punt as well for the captaincy this game week. He missed both games in double game week 33, but he has played in the FA Cup for Chelsea. So Joao Pedro is back, he's fit, he will most probably start, and hopefully the same goes for Cole Palmer. Who are you going to captain? At the moment, it's on Calvert-Lewin, but it's between Cole Palmer and Calvert-Lewin for me. I haven't really, as mentioned, haven't really considered Joao Pedro, but he might be a good shout as well. Erling Haaland playing away against Everton, so not the best picture for Erling Haaland, but it's Man City, it's Erling Haaland. Of course, they can score against anyone. So Erling Haaland, I definitely think that he is the safest option. I think Bruno Fernandes could be another safe option. He will have high ownership in game week 35. So Bruno Fernandes, Erling Haaland, I think I will go against them this game week. Sandri, thanks for joining in. Sander Tavernier from Sandri as well. 2 votes for Tavernier. So Sander asked the question, who would you start? Tavernier, Scott, or Senesi? I think I would go for Tavernier. And on the screen, my team, I have Tavernier in my starting 11 with Hill on the bench. So a strong bench. Might see some bench points this game week, but I think my team is fairly settled. I'm not going to use a transfer this game week. I will save a transfer and have 2 free transfers heading into double game week 36. I have Verbruggen in goal, O'Reilly, Cucurella, and Pascal Struijk. So the safest option for me would probably be to sell Cucurella, bring in an Arsenal defender, but at the moment, I think I'll just save the transfer. Deciding to attack Calvert-Lewin captain. I have actually made this decision to attack this game week, so I will be a bit different. Try to climb the ranks a bit more. Daniel George, wildcard 35, bench boost 36. So are you asking if this is a game week 35 team? This is my team. I wildcarded in game week 32, played my bench boost in game week 33, free hit last game week, and this is my free hit in blank game week 34, and this game week I got my old team back. So if you're interested in a wildcard 35 team, I have actually made a video discussing a wildcard in game week 35. So if you're interested, it's linked in the description down below. Neil Chisman, play for Bruggen. Would you play Dubravka and Pascal Struijk for Bruggen on the bench? I think I agree with Sandri. Burnley, they don't really have that much to play for. Of course, Dubravka can get save points, but I'm not really expecting a clean sheet from Burnley. This is one of the reasons why the captaincy is currently on Calvert-Lewin. So usually at this point, there are a lot of teams with nothing to fight for. At the moment, it's actually Newcastle. They are one of those teams that they can't get relegated and they can't get a spot in Europe for the 26-27 season. So Newcastle, they are actually one of few teams with nothing left to play for this season. So there are a couple of teams still fighting to avoid relegation, like West Ham, Spurs, Leeds, and there are a lot of teams fighting for spots in Europe. Sorry, not Dubravka, but Darlov. I would actually start Darlov this game week if I owned him. Dubravka, Darlov. Yeah, I actually have Dubravka on the bench. I haven't really considered playing Dubravka this game week, and I will definitely start for Bruggen. So after saying this, we will most probably see a Burnley clean sheet. So a blank for my captain Calvert-Lewin and bench points for Dubravka. I start Brobby, or if they have probably Brobby. Nikwan, thanks for joining in. I think I would start Brobby, the attacker Tiav. Newcastle. We might see some rotation in the Newcastle defense. We saw Eddie Howe on the press conference yesterday as well talking about his defense and the fact that he wasn't really impressed by his defenders recently and that they haven't kept enough clean sheets. So we might actually see some rotation in the Newcastle defense, and Thiaw might actually be benched this game week. So usually in 50-50 decisions, I tend to favor the most attacking player, and Robbie playing up front. Thiaw, I think Robbie would be my preferred option in game week 35. We have seen that Brighton, they are actually one of the informed teams as well, so I expect that Brighton probably will score against Newcastle in game week 35. With that said, I actually have a couple of Brighton players on the bench, but I can't really see who in my starting 11 I would take out. Tavernier have been mentioned a couple of times, but I actually like Tavernier this game week, playing at home against a tired Crystal Palace on some set pieces for Bournemouth, and it can potentially be on penalties if Krupi Jr. is not on the pitch. Is Florian Wirtz going to play? I think Florian Wirtz will play this game week. Yes. So let's have a quick look to see if there are any updates on injuries. So Kluivert is actually back in training for Bournemouth as well. Can't really see him start, so I think that Tavernier is definitely nailed on. So Salah injured, will not play. Alisson Becker might actually be back for Liverpool. He's not ruled out. Kirk is injured, so no mention of any injury for Florian Wirtz, and I think that he will start in game week 35. Timber confirmed to miss game week 35. Anthony Gordon with some problems as well will probably miss game week 35. Same goes for Gomez. He was a bit popular on a free hit. I'm sorry, he was popular on game week 32 wildcards, considering the fact that Brighton, they had a double game week 33. So the FPL managers going for Gomez, of course, was a bit unlucky. No big surprises in the press conference today. Virat Kohli, thanks for joining in. Take a hit for Van Dijk or O'Reilly or for other defense. I think bringing in O'Reilly for a hit could pay off, considering the fact that they will play twice next game week. So is it Van Dijk to O'Reilly for a hit? I think I probably would make this transfer, to be honest, especially if you have attacking options from Man United as well. Man United will play against Liverpool this game week, and you will then avoid having your defenders play against your midfielders and attackers. So yeah, Van Dijk to O'Reilly for a -4. It's a yes from me. How about Cole Palmer to Bruno Guimaraes? So he is back from injury, an interesting option. Haven't really checked his ownership. He did really well before his injury. Let's have a quick look at Bruno G's ownership. Bruno G priced at 6.7, ownership of 4.7. Nice. Kind of similar to Tavernier. I think Bruno Guimaraes could be a decent punt in the run-in, but let's have a quick look at the fixtures as well. So Newcastle, this game week, playing at home against Brighton. Then they play away against Nottingham Forest, at home against West Ham, and away against Fulham. So not the worst fixtures for Newcastle, but I have mentioned this earlier as well. Newcastle, they are one of few teams with nothing left to play for. So there are some teams fighting to avoid relegation. And there are a lot of teams fighting for spots in Europe. But Newcastle, they are actually one of the teams that can't get relegated. They can't get into any European competition next season. So Newcastle, they are actually what's been called on the beach in FPL terms. So selling Cole Palmer to Bruno Guimaraes. I'm not really sure. I have actually considered to captain Cole Palmer this game week, and I might end up captaining Cole Palmer this game week. My captaincy is currently on Calvert-Lewin, but I will be really annoyed this evening. I will watch Leeds against Burnley, and if Calvert-Lewin blanks, it will be a really long weekend for me. So I might go back to Cole Palmer, but I'm not really sure. I have made the decision to go against Erling Haaland this game week, so trying to be a bit different, trying to climb the ranks. I started the season at 9.5 million, and at the moment 100k, so that's a decent climb. It will not be a new record season for me, of course, but I'm kind of satisfied with the climb from 9.5 million to 100k. It could actually have been a really good season with a bit better start. I started the season captaining Jared Bowen. So Jared Bowen, he has turned out to be a really good FPL asset this season. I started the season with Jared Bowen and he blanked in the opening game weeks. He actually started scoring when I sold Jared Bowen, so kind of frustrating, of course, but I was expecting a bit more from West Ham in game week 1, seeing that they played against newly promoted Sunderland, and Sunderland, they had like 20 new players in their team, but they managed to beat West Ham in game week 1. I think it was 3-1. Correct me if I'm wrong. But a blank from Jared Bowen. So the game week 35 deadline is 3 hours 39 minutes away. Still time to make transfers and make the final decisions. Rodgers or Gibbs White, Django Tara or Okafor on a wildcard. Thanks. I think I would go for, actually, considering the fact that Nottingham Forest, they have some tough games. I know Gibbs White, he has been really good recently, but on a wildcard, I think I would go for Rodgers and Okafor. I think Leeds, they have done really well recently as well, still fighting to avoid relegation. So considering the fixtures for Aston Villa and the fact that Rodgers he hasn't really delivered recently, but he has had a lot of chances, has been a bit unlucky. I think I will go Rodgers and Okafor. I have actually made the graphics for my next video. It will be a gameweek36 wildcard video, and I have Rodgers in that team. So yeah, Rodgers, I think he will do well in the run-in. Big up from Irish Peter. Thanks for joining in. Or any other suggestions. Thanks for answering. So I think there are a couple of interesting punts in the run-in when we consider the fixtures. So I think actually NGI is a solid punt as well. He has looked really good, passes the eye test on penalties for Everton, but of course not the best fixture this game week. He will play against Man City. So if you're playing your wildcard this game week, and if you have the option to bench NGI this game week, you will have a really interesting option in the run-in. So I think SA is another punt. Low ownership. I could consider something like Pascal Gross to NGI next game week if I don't go for Crystal Palace assets. Could do something like Gross to Sar as well. Rogers or Enzo. I think I would go Rogers ahead of Enzo Fernandez. Yeah, agree. NGI versus Dewsbury Hall, a coin toss, or do you clearly prefer NGI? I think if you're going to, I think if you need a player that will sit on the bench most game weeks, I would go for Dewsbury Hall because of his price. If you're going to play this player week in, week out, I would definitely prefer having NGI. He's on corners, he's on penalties, and he is actually a joy to watch. I think both of them are solid options, but I would prefer having NGI. I know he hasn't really delivered FPL points recently, but I have seen the last couple of games for Everton, and he definitely passes the eye test. He looks full of confidence. He's actually playing. He's actually kind of similar to Ryan Shirky. Really, really technically gifted player. I think he will start delivering FPL points as well, and he's one of those players that actually can pick up defensive contributions. Last time NGI played against Man City, he actually was the man of the match. I watched that game as well. It was at the Etihad, of course. They're playing away. So, yeah, Man City against Everton. NGI, he did really, really well in that reversed fixture. So, he could actually be a good punt for game week 35 as well. I think he actually picked up defensive contribution points as well. Let's see. Let's see. Oops. So this was the game, Man City against Everton, 2-0, brace from Erling Haaland. Bonus points, Erling Haaland, O'Reilly, Nunez. But in the bonus point system, we can see that NGI actually got, even though they lost 2-0 in that game, he actually got 20 bonus points, 17 defensive contributions. So my memory was actually correct. NGI did really, really well in the reversed fixture. 17. He was close to attacking returns in that fixture as well. I think that NGI actually is a decent punt if you're considering to bring in a differential in midfield. Are you doing team reviews? Yes. If you're interested in having your team reviewed, head over to X, post a picture of your team, and we'll get it up on the screen. Or, of course, you can just post your team in the chat as well. Bruno G or Thiago, I need a differential. Calvert-Lewin from Sandri. My captain is actually Calvert-Lewin at the moment. If you need a differential, if it's between Bruno Guimaraes and Igor Thiago, I think I actually would go for Igor Thiago, to be honest. So in the graphics on the right-hand side, you can see the bookies predictions for anytime goal scorer as well. And Igor Thiago, he is actually top 3. So 39% chance of a goal against West Ham. So Igor Thiago, I think that he is a decent captain option this game week if you're going for a differential. Bruno Guimaraes, back from injury, decent punt, but I think I would prefer having Igor Thiago. How about Igor Thiago stats versus West Ham? Igor Thiago against West Ham. He did score against West Ham, and this was back in game week 8. Igor Thiago got bonus points as well. Five defensive contributions. So let's see if we have any other teams to review. 17 notifications. Hopefully it's not 17 teams that I have missed. So if you're interested in having your team reviewed, head over to X, post a picture under this post game week 35 deadline stream. Let's get it up on the screen. So playable, we have had a look at this team. FPL Luca as well. So we had a look at this 30 minutes ago. Let's see. So let's have a look. It's a double up on Leeds with Darlow and James Justin. I think I would start Darlow and bench Verbruggen if I had Darlow Verbruggen combination. Senesi and a double up on Bournemouth actually with Tavernier. Guehi in defense, Semenyo, Erling Haaland. Triple up. So double up on Man United as well against Liverpool. No Van Dijk, so I think that doubling up on Man United looks good. My team is A.Y. Beckham. Yes, I think this is the correct one, right? Jared Bowen, Erling Haaland, Welbeck. On the bench, we have Hill, Brendan Aronson, and Van Hecke. So a really strong team. A couple of tough benching decisions, but I have benched Hill myself. I have benched Van Hecke as well. And Brendan Aronson. Really, really good fixture for Brendan Aronson, but I can't really see who you should bench to make room for Brendan Aronson in this team. So I agree with the bench. Safe option on captaining Erling Haaland. 2 free transfers, 1.3 in the bank. And Mbumo to Case. Mbumo to who? To Case. I think this team actually is good to go. You can potentially save a transfer and have 3 free transfers heading into double game week 36. Can potentially take a punt on a couple of Crystal Palace assets like Munoz or potentially Sar as well. Of course, there is a risk involved in going for those Palace players because of rotation. Mbumo to Casemiro. Yeah, we talked about this earlier. Mbumo, I'm sorry. Terribly sorry. Should have understood that case was Casemiro. Yeah. Will free up some funds. Mbumo to Casemiro. Mbumo, he hasn't really looked that threatening. He's playing wide for Man United at the moment. So earlier on in the season, he was like one of the best attacking assets from Man United. But at the moment, I definitely think that Bruno Fernandes is the best option and probably enough cover from the Man City attack. So downgrading Mbumo to Casemiro will free up a lot of funds. You will get the attacking threat from set pieces offered by Casemiro. So it's a bit sideways, but it's definitely not a terrible move. And as mentioned, it will free up a lot of funds. Three hours, 26 minutes until the deadline. So thanks all for joining in. I usually have Q&As always the night before every deadline. The last couple of deadline streams have been a bit earlier, like this one. So if you're interested, please subscribe to the channel. With 2 free transfers in 36, I can bring in Strand Larsen and Sar or Munoz. So the thing is, with Strand Larsen, we might see rotation up front for Crystal Palace. I think Mateta would be my preferred option, to be honest. Mateta back from injury. Let's see how many minutes Mateta actually have got. Mateta priced at 7.6. He actually has 100 FPL points this season. Played 30 minutes in game week 30, 32, and 33. Started against Liverpool in game week 34, so he might very well start next game week as well. So there is a risk involved in going for Crystal Palace forwards. Can't really see them start with both Strand Larsen and Mateta. I think Mateta would be my preferred option going for a forward from Crystal Palace. Which player had the best prime for you in a Premier League season? Probably Spurs Harry Kane. He was a really reliable FPL asset. I have mentioned this fixture when both Son and Spurs scored 4 goals and assisted 4 times each. I think they assisted each other and scored 4 goals, something like that. You have a better memory compared to me, Sandri, on these things. I remember that it happens, but I'm usually not 100% correct. Oh, not FPL related. Probably one of my favorites would be Wayne Rooney, I'd say. As a Man United fan, I think Rooney, he was a really good player, so probably Wayne Rooney. If it's not FPL related. But of course, I remember back in the day watching Henry as well. He was unplayable. I remember Thierry Henry was like unstoppable. with his right curling just out of the goalkeeper's reach, and it felt like every time he got the ball, it would be really, really threatening. Strange you didn't say Ronaldo. All Man United fans say him. I actually, I thought about Ronaldo, but I thought it was a bit boring to pick Ronaldo. But of course, I remember Ronaldo. I remember the free kick against Portsmouth as well. It was, of course, really, really good before the transfer to Madrid. So Man United had a really, really solid team at that, with Tevez as well, Wayne Rooney, Ronaldo. Strange I didn't say Ronaldo. Definitely think that he was one of the best players for Man United at that point, and of course he just kept on delivering for Madrid as well. So, and actually still going. So 3 hours 21 minutes until the, I guess, I think, considering the fact you're a Chelsea fan, I think it would probably be so. From the Mourinho era, they had players like Drogba, John Terry, Frank Lampard, but I think my favorite Chelsea player would probably be Eden Hazard, to be honest. Maybe a bit lazy, but really, really talented player. So when it comes to FPL, he has been one of my favorite FPL assets. Really reliable player in FPL as well, and really fun to watch. So Erling Haaland, he is the winner in the captain pool. I can potentially play it safe this game. We can go for Erling Haaland captain myself. At the moment, Calvert-Lewin, but it doesn't really feel right captaining Calvert-Lewin, considering the fact that they will play in the early kickoff. It will be a huge, huge disappointment if he blanks this evening. It will be a long weekend. He was a genius, but no, not him. Luis Suarez, he was really, really good in that season as well. I have actually watched a couple of clips recently from Luis Suarez in that season. Scored some ridiculous goals. So another player that has the potential to be like mentioned in the same category as Eden Hazard. I think Cole Palmer, he has the potential to be a really, really good player. He hasn't really delivered so far this season, especially the expectations were really, really high for Cole Palmer, of course, but after the transfer from Man City to Chelsea, I think that he has been one of the best players in the league. He has this technical ability. He can make things happen. And I have actually considered to give the captain's armband to Cole Palmer this game week, so he might still be my captain. Let's see. There were a lot of disappointed Cole Palmer captainers in double game week 33, of course. I think I will put the captain's armband back on Cole Palmer for now, but it's not 100% locked in. So thanks everyone for joining in. It's 3 hours and 17 minutes left until the deadline. So thanks all for joining the stream. I always have a Q&A the night before the deadline, and I have deadline streams as this as well. So if you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. So the next, let's have a quick look at the next deadline. Saturday deadline for gameweek36. So the next stream will be next Friday. But thanks all for joining in. Best of luck for game week 35 and have a lovely week. And I'm really excited ahead of game week 35, and I will watch the Leeds against Burnley game. I have considered to give the captain's armband to Calvert-Lewin. I might still change to Calvert-Lewin, but my captain is currently on Cole Palmer. I want to be a bit different, so going for a captain pump this game week. No Arsenal defense, no Erling Haaland captain at the moment. So hopefully this will pay off in game week 35. So as mentioned, best of luck for game week 35 and have a lovely weekend. Thanks for joining in.